Yeah, I can
We're gonna manifest this. Yeah. You just gave me the bait by saying that you loved the record. So there you go.
Hi, I'm Sophie, and I'm joined by the wonderful Jessie Ware for the latest instalment of Enemies in Conversation series. Jessie, how are we today?
I'm really good. How are you?
Great, I'm good, thank you.
You're jet lagged.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
We're surviving.
We're surviving. You're recovering from a cold.
And jet lag, yeah. It's, you know, we're busy women in music, aren't we, Sophie?
Powerful. Well, congratulations on the new record to start with.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about putting it out into the world and having everyone hear it?
I'm excited. Like, the feedback has been immense, and that's amazing. Mm-hmm. And it feels, I think I've got like maybe 40 days until it's out, and I'm excited for people to hear it. I'm really proud of it. Mm-hmm. I think it's a fun record. It's supposed to be enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, hopefully, like, Sun's going to come out and we'll all have a nice new album to listen to.
I mean, the past few years you've been all about transformation, really. You've got sort of a new sound, a new live show. How do you think you've grown as a musician?
Oh my God, so much. I think I know the artist that I am meant to be now, mm-hmm. however kind of naff that sounds. I think it's taken me a good 10 years to really feel comfortable in my skin, to be able to say that I am an artist, to mm-hmm. say that I used to have this mad thing where I wouldn't call myself, I don't necessarily call myself an artist because you sound like a dick, don't you? But like, I used to only be able to say I was a singer, and it was like, I don't know, I wear many different hats now, and I'm so proud of the hats that I wear and the varied lives that I lead, and I have a lot of fun and I'm enjoying myself, and I think that it is such an amazing job to have. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't enjoying myself enough before. I was so scared. Right. So yeah, I'm having a good time.
Mm-hmm. And when do you think things changed for you? Like you said, you're juggling so many different things. When were you finally able to sort of let loose?
I think when there was kind of the realisation that the podcast was kind of its own entity, and it was just people were really enjoying it, and it felt like a really wonderful release, and kind of then encouraged me to be able to feel even more creative in the studio. I think that was a real transformation. When I started, like 5 years ago maybe, and of course, kind of reconnecting with James Ford on What's Your Pleasure, and us just working in his Hackney attic was really, really, like, that will forever be nostalgic for me, mm-hmm. and I love him so much, and it's been great to have him on. That feels good too.
I mean, in a recent interview you talked about how sort of the thing you're most proud of through all these years of transformation is how you've revived your music career in a way. What does that mean to you? It's like you say, you finally become the artist you've always wanted to be. How do you feel about that?
Well, it means everything, because I think it means that I feel like I deserve to have a place here, mm-hmm. and I'm also, I don't discount that I'm lucky to still, I was figuring myself out, mm-hmm. and making music that I was proud of, but like, you know, the newer material, I feel completely mm-hmm. like I have full autonomy, and it feels good. That's probably why the album's called that. I don't know. That's part of the reason, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the album really doubles down on sort of that looseness and the fun that we heard on What's Your Pleasure. Yeah. What was like the headspace that you were in when you started creating this record?
I think I knew the record that I wanted to make. As soon as I made the song Remember Where You Are, I was like, right, okay, this feels different to the rest of What's Your Pleasure, but it needs to kind of be the finale to What's Your Pleasure. But this is the onus, this is the momentum that's going to drive me forward for the new record. I wanted it to feel very live. I wanted it to feel loose. I wanted it to feel more joyful than What's Your Pleasure necessarily did. There's far more kind of fun moments on it. It's a different kind of dance record. It's maybe more groove-led and soul-led and kind of funk, I guess. But yeah, it's going to make you dance, I hope.
Definitely. And on the title track as well, obviously you've got those voice notes from your friends and family.
Yeah.
What was it like reaching out to everyone and asking them to contribute to the album?
I mean, it was like this idea that I had after we'd written That Feels Good, and big shout out to Shingudzo, who kind of came up with that idea of that song. She's an incredible producer, writer, artist, and I adore her. I was like to James, I said, look, I kind of want it to feel quite cinematic for the beginning of the record. I want it to feel like you were kind of propelled into this world of pleasure and feeling good. And so I just sent voice notes to people and was like, hi babe, you all right? Can we can I just ask you to like say that feels good in loads of different ways, just like however you interpret it. It was so funny to get people's versions back, because lots of people felt very prudish about it, and we're also like, I don't know what you're talking about. Loads of people fully committed to the cause, and it was just really, really good fun putting them all together. Me and James just having a total giggle, being like, right, should we put Roisin next to Jamie Demetriou, and then should we put like, you know, Aisling B? Yeah, let's turn Aisling up. It was just silly and fun.
Like you said there, some people sort of had mixed responses, some were a little bit prudish. What was like the funniest response that you had, or maybe someone that wasn't expecting you to reach out and ask for that?
I mean, I can't believe Kylie Minogue actually did it. I mean, I love Kylie and I regard her as a friend, but, you know, Kylie's Kylie, and she was in Australia, and bless her, she did it. Roisin Murphy was brilliant because she was like in an airport in Finland, I think, and she just kind of was like, I'm in a toilet in an airport. I can't do an Irish accent, but anyway, she did it. So I just love the idea of somebody like doing a wee next to Roisin and just going, that feels good. So yeah, it was, I don't know, even my mum doing it, just and not actually having heard the song and not knowing what she was letting herself in for, but
And you mentioned Kylie, obviously you both have a really close relationship, and she came on stage with you last summer, right? Was that really hard to keep that a secret, because the fans went
because I've got a big mouth, yes. Also, I think there was like zero pressure for her to come because it was her birthday that night.
Right.
So I was a bit like, do you really want to come on stage in Brixton Academy on your birthday? I think like Kylie lives for that shit. So it was brilliant. And I don't feel bad for the second day audience, because actually I think the second day was an amazing gig. But I've never heard Brixton Academy scream so loud. And that is with my in-ears in, as when Kylie Minogue got on that stage.
Yeah, incredible. Like we talked about earlier, the new album's sort of heavily influenced by the live performance, which you say has really grown in recent years.
Yeah.
What do you think that you've done to sort of switch up that live show, and when did you start feeling more comfortable on stage and what you were putting out there?
I switched it up as soon as we went on tour with What's Your Pleasure. I knew that I wanted to ramp it up. I wanted to make it a performance. We had it split into acts. I was thinking of it as more of a kind of production, musical theatre even, a piece of work rather than a gig. Nothing wrong about a gig, but for me, I felt like it was going to raise my game a bit, and bringing choreography into the whole of What's Your Pleasure, I think really helped me with my performance. I think it gave me less time to think about how I was singing and just let that just happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the focus. And I've always prided myself on being a good live vocalist, but I think I was yet to leave a memory with people for a live performance, and I feel like the whole of What's Your Pleasure did that, and that's really propelled me to keep on trying and pushing it. So for That Feels Good, it's going to go even bigger, I think, with our show.
And with That Feels Good, which songs on the album were you sort of thinking, I know how I want to play this live, like I'm going to record this in this way because it'll play like that on stage?
Well, one that you quite like, Shake the Bottle, I think is a complete kind of lip-syncing, performance-led one. It's got the bits where people can go, that's right, and it's very much inspired by B-52s and post-punk and just kind of that New York scene. Like, I want people to be shouting and hollering out at me. There's so many bits on the record for people to kind of do those little bits, whether it's a la 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 or a ooh ah or a that's right, or I don't know, there's loads of things. Do it again, I don't know. So for me, it's constantly about having that conversation with the crowd and keeping them involved too, because there's nothing better than when everyone is singing together. I think it's incredibly thrilling as somebody in the audience, but also being on stage. I mean, indulge me, please.
Definitely. And I mean, what's it felt like to sort of see that exchange with the fans grow through the live shows and have this whole new wave of fans come in from the last album?
I think initially my way of connecting with the crowd was to chat, and it became almost like a talk show in between songs. So I'd sing my song and then I'd have a big chat. And if you came to my shows, like, you'd get to know me a bit more in between the songs as opposed to when I was performing the songs. And then it became maybe too much like a chat show.
Right.
So like, it was kind of like, I would just be gassing with somebody down at the front being like, you know, are you single? What's going on? Da, da, da. And so we kind of actually rein that in a bit. I don't know, there's still totally a way, I think because the performance is much better and kind of more considered now, people enjoy that. And they've given me such confidence, like being able to perform in front of them and such generosity. I think also they'd lived with What's Your Pleasure for over a year by the time I got to tour it. So they knew those songs, and it was such I mean, I don't know what your first gig was back post-pandemic. Can you remember which one it was?
Mine was a festival, actually.
Oh yeah, I bet that was amazing.
It was,
what was it?
Stand and Call and
Oh,
Festival.
amazing.
So yeah, it was.
And there was like this energy, right?
Yeah.
And I had that with my crowds, and we were waiting for this moment to sing it together. So I think that was a really beautiful thing that came out of the record coming out at that awful time. It just meant that the live shows were so anticipated and people were so familiar with the music.
Yeah.
And it was really amazing seeing which songs people were loving. You know, I always loved Soul Control on the last record, but like it really went off live. Ooh La La, they loved, you know, all of it. So yeah, I have high hopes for a song like Shake the Bottle.
And it was also amazing to see the Harry Styles fans embrace that album when you opened up for him last year.
Yeah, that was great.
What was it like to hit those big stages in the US?
Wicked. I think I was ready for it. Kind of rose to the challenge. We adapted the show, which we'd been playing a lot, so we were really a well-oiled machine by that point, which I think was great. I hadn't been able to go to America yet. That was a great opportunity. I liked the challenge of trying to win over people. Yeah. I think when Harry has you on a tour with him, people are wanting you to do well. His fans are very generous, which is wonderful. But I loved it. I loved being in the arena. I didn't think I'd like it so much.
Right.
It was fab. It was exhilarating. When they lit I think there was an amazing moment when in Remember Where You Are, I think it was on the second night, and like everyone's like, I mean, it's really obvious, but they put their phone lights on and then everyone started going. And you know, they're not there for me. Yeah. But 25,000 people lighting up. I was like, this is magic. Yeah. It was really beautiful.
I mean, speaking of touring, recently you also spoke about how you once turned down to tour with Prince. How did that come about, and how did you know that he was a fan of your music? That must have been huge, right?
Yeah, I really regret that. It's a real bloody shame. It wasn't touring. I think it was opening up for him. I think it was for a Birmingham gig. I knew that he liked me because he used to do these like live streams of DJing, and he started like playing Wildest Moments. And so yeah, I was like, wow, Prince knows who I am. He's playing my music. This is like the greatest compliment in the frigging world. And I never got to meet him. And I know everyone's got a Prince story. And my Prince story is a funny one because I never got to meet him, and I annoyingly had to go to Greece to do a wedding recce. I mean, look, my husband is semi-worth it, but I don't know, I wonder.
Only semi.
Yeah, God, honestly, it's a big regret. But also kind of, I don't know if I would have been ready to meet Prince. I think I would have probably just tripped up over myself and just been like an absolute loser in front of him.
I mean, speaking of people like Prince and Harry, obviously they're renowned for the huge live shows. Yeah. Going forward to the That Feels Good tour, who are you sort of looking to for sort of inspiration for how you want to present yourself on stage, or are you even looking at yourself?
Yeah. Talking Heads, Grace Jones. I think what Self-Esteem is doing is magnificent. I'm so proud of her. She's amazing. James Brown. I don't know. Like we're musical theatre, Hair the music, and I'm going to all these different places. I want it to feel really warm and energetic. I mean, you know, some of the greatest gigs I've been to, things like D'Angelo at Hammersmith Apollo. I love Hammersmith Apollo actually. But Prince at the O2. You know, I want to put on a show, and those are some of the greats that do that so brilliantly.
I mean, going back to the album, you've talked about how Beautiful People, for example, sort of like a nod or a throwback to your raving days, which is something you talk a lot about in your book Omelette as well. Why was that time so transformative for you, and why do those memories still stick with you now?
I think like your first experience of either live music, or whether that's live music or clubbing, I think I felt so safe and part of something, like a community, and it just brings you, it's so nostalgic. I think also there's nothing more exhilarating for me at the time to listen to drum and bass music and dance till 6 a.m. with just £10 and like a bottle of water and a Red Bull to keep me going. And it really was just driven by like the music and the beats and the bass, and I loved it. And I loved how innocent I was too. You know, I wasn't having mad nights. I was literally just going to dance, and it was beautiful. There's nothing better than dancing, is there? I also like just going to gigs. It's important to me because I guess I'm an artist now. And I think going dancing, that feeling and that escape is so important. It's something that I want people to feel when they come to my shows. And I think for a lot of my early records, we weren't able to dance, and that's totally fine. And people were so wonderful and respectful and supportive of my music. But now I've got this chance to dance and for people to dance in the audience, and I want to give them that.
Like you say, like you really want to give people this environment. So I guess when you were looking at putting the live shows together, did you ever think about those days and how safe and inclusive those environments felt, and you want to translate that in a way of your own
totally.
shows?
I'd like to think that, look, everybody in my crowd I'd go for a drink with, they're really good fun. We'd have a lovely time. In fact, after my Brixton show, I went to the Eagle for a Horse Meat Disco night, and like a lot of the people in the Horse Meat Disco night had been to my show. And I was like, oh God, you're great. This is fabulous. Like the best after party ever. Of course, I think my fans are amazing and incredibly good fun, and I hope that my shows are a warm, safe environment for people to have a load of fun and feel included in something quite glorious.
Amazing. Like you say, they're sort of a wild environment in a way as well. What's sort of like the maddest thing that you saw in a crowd last year on tour? I bet things got a bit lively at some of the shows.
What, in my own shows?
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, this isn't wild, but bless them. So I was doing Sao Paulo Primavera. It was a really big thing for me. Everything was going wrong for me on stage, but this like sea of people, I'd never played in Brazil. It was phenomenal. And it kind of didn't matter that my shoe was breaking. I couldn't hear anything in my ears. Like, I think I'd ripped something. It didn't matter because they were amazing. And I went into the crowd and I didn't tell my tour manager that I was going to do it. And like somebody gave me their flag, and it was a rainbow flag, and I put it up and everyone like cheered. And then I took it. And this poor person had got every band to sign this flag, and they were like begging for us to give it. I was like, give it back to him, of course. But like, I got upstairs, I was like, oh my God. And they were like, this poor guy is like sobbing because he needs his flag back. And I was like, oh my God, totally fine. But it was, bless him, I was there being like, yeah, in the moment, ran off with it. And he was like, no, I need it back. It was quite funny. I don't know whether mine have gone like absolutely mad. There was like, I got a really good hat in Mexico City. That was good. I don't feel like it. I mean, I'm not in the crowd, but I've heard about like many romantic moments happening in the back of the rooms at my shows, and I'm here for it.
We're all here for it.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Well, you mentioned there you got given that rainbow flag in the crowd last year. What has it meant for you to be really embraced by the LGBTQ plus community? And
everything. I mean, it's the highest kind of accolade, and also I think they've made me a better performer. I think they've kind of given me the confidence and the love. And I feel very, very special and lucky that they have chosen me to be somebody that's somebody that they want to support. So yeah, I love them.
Well, looking to the future now, like we said, you've had the book out. Obviously, the podcast is thriving. You've got a new album.
Thanks for the award. Thank
of course, you've got an NME award to your name.
Yeah, love it. Lenny loves it. Yeah.
What else is there left to achieve for you? Like, well, what else is on the bucket list at this point?
I think big festivals. Really cementing that I'm an artist that you want to go and watch at a festival. Maybe you don't know about me, but you've heard that the live show is really good fun and you're going to have a good time. Like, it's not supposed to be self-indulgent. It's just like supposed to make people have a good time. And that is something that I love and cherish about live music. So that's my ambition, just to really solidify that I'm a great live performer.
And just to wrap things up, when you look at the past few years, what makes you feel sort of the most proud about what you've achieved and how far you've come?
I mean, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Like you saying about like books and podcasts. Like, I'm lucky that I get to do lots of different things, and weirdly, they all kind of seem to be working out at the same time. And and I feel very driven by the fact that I can do all these these things, and also be a parent, and I don't know, I'm proud of it all, but I think that moment when I kind of threw caution to the wind with What's Your Pleasure, and thought, well, if this is going to be my last album, I'm going to go out with, well, a bang on my terms, and it did more than I ever expected, so yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
We look forward to sharing the album with the world.
Great.